Good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday. That means it's time for another Canes Alumni Biz by CanesWear. Just waiting for our guest. She'll be here momentarily. Hope everybody's doing well. Hello, Carol. I love seeing everybody join. It's great. And I see Erin right there.
Hi, Ken.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. I'm hoping the natural light's gonna hold out. It's starting to rain here.
Okay. Are you in South Miami or
Kind of Kendall area, like Snapper Creek-ish.
okay? Well, it
Yeah.
looks it rained here before, but it looks pretty good up here up in Davie.
Yeah.
So
I think
so
we're
welcome.
we're just getting the rush now.
Okay. Well, officially welcome to Canes Alumni Biz by CanesWear.
Thank you.
And every week we just try to have some University of Miami alumni here to promote their businesses, see what's going on, and talk about the campus and campus life and everything that's going on around everybody's lives. And so we'll get started with tell us who you are.
Fantastic. Hi. My name is Erin Moyer. I graduated UM in 2001. I studied broadcast journalism and I did a second major in political science and a minor in art. I'm originally from California. I'm a California girl through and through. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area and came out to UM specifically for their broadcasting program. And I also have my master's degree from UM. I went back and did the Master of Arts in Liberal Studies program.
Wow,
And I worked at the university while I did that program as an admission counselor. So I was in the admission office for 4 years, traveling the country, recruiting high school students, and loved that. So while I did my master's degree.
and Michelle says you're awesome.
Oh, oh, hi Michelle. Thanks for the support.
I'm trying to read the comments on the bottom. They're a little small, but
Awesome.
just
No, I'll try to catch some if I can while I'm chatting.
and so you're also married to a cane.
Yes, yes. My husband is a Kane. He graduated in 99 from engineering and then did his master's degree and graduated with his master's in 2001. So we met at UM in 99 because of Iron Arrow, which both of us are members of, and forever grateful for that meeting. We were introduced by a fellow a good friend of ours, Raquel, and yeah, the rest is history. It's been almost 21 years.
That's great. Raquel, last name?
Yeah.
What's
Raquel
Raquel's last
Russell.
name? Okay, yeah, I know her well.
Raquel
Yeah,
Russell. Yeah.
yeah. We lived in
Yeah.
Mahoney Pearson together, so
There you go.
it's
Everybody
a
knows
small
Raquel.
world. Yeah, that's very true. So what are you doing now?
Yes. So I have my own business now. I mean, pretty much professionally, I spent the majority of my career in entertainment. So despite my kind of 4 year break to do my master's program when I worked at the university and worked in higher education, I pretty much have been in the entertainment industry for the majority, gosh, 15 years. So I worked in production first. I worked on a Jerry Bruckheimer Warner Brothers show that was on NBC called E-Ring. And for that show, after getting my master's degree, I went back to Los Angeles. So I moved back to California and worked in production. I worked for the showrunner on that show. I was his assistant. And my mother, who I know joined at some point in the beginning of this, she always questioned, like, why do you have a master's degree and you went back to be an assistant making hardly any money and, having to kind of work your way up. But that's just how the entertainment industry works, whether it's
Right.
starting in the mailroom at the talent agencies or starting on a desk at any of the production companies or studios. So that's what I did. And from there, I went to NBC, where I spent a little over 8 years, kind of working my way up, and was eventually a supervising producer in the digital and marketing department at NBC, and was able to work across about a quarter of the show profiles,
Oh, wow.
and worked with creative producers, technical producers, the executive producers and writing staff on the show, talent, So I'm actually usually the one asking questions, not usually the one answering them. And really just kind of honed in a little bit of what it is that I wanted to do, which changed. Like I said, I studied broadcast journalism, but that's not really what I ended up doing professionally. I really kind of focused more in content and finding the story and kind of let my career evolve. I'm kind of big on everything will happen for a reason, and you'll sort of find your way or opportunities will present themselves.
Right.
And then, so anyway, towards the end of my tenure at NBC, I was working on The Biggest Loser, and the world of consumer products was shifted a bit with licenses. And so ultimately, the licenses for the consumer products for specific digital products within Biggest Loser were going outside. And so a company called Digital Wellness evolved because of that opportunity. And luckily, they took me on. So I was a vice president for content development for that company. And we worked really exclusively building the Biggest Loser digital business. So running the Biggest Loser online club, creating the Biggest Loser boot camp. I worked very closely with Dilvet and his team, who did quite a few of our workout videos. So that was a really interesting kind of model for me. Like, that was not only dealing with digital content and creating and producing, but also in the weight loss space, which I was not professionally aware of or understood. So it was kind of a little bit of learning on the job and being open to figuring it out as I went. Right. And then worked for them for 4 years, and then kind of the licensing model shifted a bit, and the company ultimately decided to shut down, which was good timing. I was actually 6 months pregnant with my second child, and then decided to just kind of take a year off, which professionally not many people do, whether they have the time or the opportunity to do it. Luckily, my husband and I had talked about it at length, and it was just the right thing at the right time. So we took the opportunity to say, I'm going to take a step back and enjoy kind of being home for a year, which sort of turned into a year and a half, which was fine. Mostly because I needed to figure out what it is that I had wanted to do next. Right. And that looked a little bit different as a mom of two than it had 10 years prior. Right. And that was a big part of my decision to start my own company, which is where I am now today. I actually I think it was April 1st, celebrated 2 years from when I officially filed the paperwork to start the company. And it's been amazing for a lot of reasons, but it's definitely been the right choice for me. But I by no means am a sort of serial entrepreneur that kind of 10 years ago would have said, absolutely, I'm going to have my own business, and that's right. My desire and my goal. That wasn't. The 10-year plan or even the 5-year plan probably never had that listed. So this has been an adventure, and one that I've really welcomed, but it has its ups and downs. But here we are today.
Right. So what does the business do?
So really, I focus a little bit on different things, clients, but ultimately it's based on finding your story for any particular client and telling that story in whatever model that looks like. So I'll say this. One of the things that a lot of folks who I reached out to when I was looking to start this business everyone said, you have to find the niche that's right for your business. Like, you have to be very specific about what it is that you want to do and what you want to offer to clients. I didn't follow that advice. I just didn't. It didn't feel right to me. It's just not who I am. I'm sort of a little bit more of probably a rule breaker in a lot of aspects of my life, and kind of find my own path as I go. So it didn't feel right to me to say, I'm this and I'm only this, and this is the only thing that I can help you with. And it's worked out so far. I really do something different for every client that I have, but it all stems from the idea of content that you need for your business, or content strategy, business strategy, and how that sort of evolves into your story. And so it differs. Right now I'm under a couple of NDAs, so I can't speak too specific on a couple of projects, but one is I've been working for quite some time on an app in the healthcare space that will hopefully be coming out in the next probably 4 to 6 months. That should be a game changer in that particular niche area in healthcare. I've also been working on a manuscript project in the human resource world and sort of helping shape the narrative of what that looks like and how to come up with the content and shape what it is going to say, kind of chapter to chapter. And then I also have a lot of other really great clients that I work on purely just digital content, doing some peer marketing, kind of peer-to-peer, B2B, B2C. It just depends on what they need.
Okay, that sounds great. And so what's been your favorite part so far in the 2 years that you've been in business?
Honestly, probably the people, and probably following my own rules and not listening to others, which has allowed me to meet and work with a variety of different clients in industries that I probably would never have worked in before, because everyone is sort of moving into or already has moved into the digital space. Everyone either needs to figure out how to tell their story, whether it be their website, whether it be marketing content, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or whatever that looks like. So any industry, I've written, website copy and stories for law firms, for HVAC companies, for, health bars, kind of stayed a little bit in the health and fitness space just because of where I came from as far as Biggest Loser was concerned. Right. That's been an interesting market. But now being in sort of this one particular niche area for healthcare, I've had to kind of really research and learn quite a bit about that space to come from an authentic storytelling area in order to produce content for them. So that's probably been my favorite part, is just being able to interact, meet with, and work across varying different industries and not be stuck specifically in entertainment, even though the purpose is kind of entertainment driven, right? Because content really should draw you in, should engage you in some respect, whether it's just pure laugh factory type content or something that's there to educate you.
Yeah, definitely. So with all this shutdown of the businesses, the entertainment world, the parks, and all this other stuff, have you seen any difference in what you had to do, or have you been able to concentrate on the things? You have longer term projects, so they're probably...
Yeah, I've definitely had longer term projects. I mean, the state of the world has forced everybody to kind of slow down a little bit, right? It's kind of forced me to not take on new clients right now. I've sort of had to put that on hold and push a few projects out, only because I also have to help maintain my household, which includes a 6-year-old and now 3-year-old. So managing the homeschooling, and my 6-year-old is in a Spanish immersion program. So his entire curriculum is in Spanish, which I don't speak, but my husband does. So that's kind of an added layer. So it's sort of teacher in the morning till like 12 or 1 o'clock, and then kind of shifting into business mode. And, just kind of prioritizing a bit how I can manage the clients that I do have and make sure that I'm supporting them in the best way. But certainly I think any takeaway that from a content perspective that this time in the world has taught us is that now more than ever, we need and want to ingest any type of information that we can, whether it be news or, Netflix or Amazon or whatever it is. So for pure entertainment value, it just depends. My husband and I actually really have enjoyed Masterclass, which is a really great app that he got me for my birthday. And we've been kind of diving into that content when we have a moment at night and we don't necessarily want to catch a serial or something like that. It's been really interesting business knowledge, just a totally different way to kind of get information and learn from experts in their fields.
Okay. Well, I was wondering how good it was because it's advertised on my Facebook feed all the time.
It's great. If you have any desire to just sort of like continually learn about something that isn't necessarily book driven, it's a great way to kind of get the Cliff Notes version from a very personal perspective on folks that you probably listen to or follow on Instagram or something anyway. Next up for me is Sarah Blakely, who is an amazing entrepreneur and runs Spanx. So she's next on my masterclass list. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen them for all different walks of life on there. So
yes,
it seems like it'd be something really good.
Yeah, definitely good.
So there's a comment of someone that just joined to recap what it is you do in 5 seconds or less.
Oh, gosh. Oh, I'm long-winded. I'm not good at 5-second recaps. I have my own business that really focuses on content strategy, business strategy, and helps either small businesses or medium-sized businesses. I haven't really broken into the enterprise area yet. So I come from a background of storytelling. So whatever your story is, I want to tell it.
Perfect.
However you want it told.
And since we're looking at questions and comments, I don't know if you've seen some of the previous episodes.
I have.
So you've seen Dolphin
Yes.
ask his question. So without further ado, what is your answer to, do you like pineapple on your pizza?
I might be somewhat controversial here. I don't really have a yes or a no. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Like, it's not something that I would necessarily order on my own, but if it was the only pizza lying around that needed to be eaten, I'd eat it, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not a...
And as the time has gone on,
I'll take you pineapple pizza.
as time has gone on with this, this is, we're getting into a nice groove here with the
Yeah.
episodes every week. And so people are starting to change my opinion. At first I was like, nah. But then last week, they said barbecue pizza with chicken and pineapple. I was like, oh, okay, well, that sounds good. And so, yeah, I think I'm in your boat now. It's like, okay, I'm not going to go out and say, all right, that's going to be my first pizza. But, if someone has it, if it has the right ingredients, then I'll definitely go for it.
Be open. We never know what we're going to like, right? Unless we try. That's what I have to tell my children every day.
Right.
Try
exactly.
it. You might like that Brussels sprout that I made
of course.
for you.
Right. It may have some extra butter and some other things on it.
Whatever. If you ask my 6-year-old, he says, I like bacon broccoli, not broccoli. Has to be with bacon.
Okay. Well, yeah, sure.
Who doesn't like bacon?
Whatever it does to get you to eat it.
Exactly.
So, but all right. So what's your favorite memory from UM?
Gosh, I thought about this question, and it is so hard to pick one memory. I was very involved in student organizations. So I was co-chair of Homecoming Executive Board. I was really involved with volunteer services. I ran Fun Day with an amazing exec board, and I was president of my sorority. Was in Iron Arrow, when I was a junior, and I've been in that ever since. So there are so many, but I think probably besides meeting my husband, which is maybe I should probably say that is like my favorite memory. Sorry, honey.
Yeah.
Love you. Besides that, we'll take second favorite. Honestly, probably just the opportunity to work with such an incredible variety of people, especially coming from California to a university that was so diverse in so many ways, from commuter students like Michelle to just completely different backgrounds than my own. It was really amazing to have an experience on a university campus. That I lived on campus for 3 years. I didn't move off until my senior year, and I didn't move that far. But I think just working with the student organizations, having Pat Whiteley, as VP, and kind of working under her and with the incredible administration that was there, all of those and everything combined probably equal one of my favorite memories. Just all of the extracurricular activities and life experiences from a leadership perspective that I got, besides the education, obviously, which is what my mother paid for.
Right.
Thanks, Mom.
Well, and I was saying the same thing about Pat Whiteley, because someone asked me for an interview a couple of days ago, and I said, who's the one beneficial faculty member that's in your life from your time, and everybody that's been in any of these organizations, we're going to say Pat, because she is so influential and so positive, and she knows exactly what's going on in the world. And she gives us such great advice. So
yeah,
even
when
back then,
when I started in 1997, when I was a freshman at UM, and she just told the story recently at a breakfast that we were both at for the Citizens Board, and I was the very first student that Pat ever introduced herself to as Vice President of Student Affairs. Like, she had just started that position, and so that was a really cool memory that she 4 years there. And then still, because she and I remain great friends, and we keep in contact all the time. So, but incredible positive influence in my life for 20 plus years now.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I was just finished another Zoom just before this one, and they had mentioned her name 3 and 4 times. So it's amazing after all this time that she's still involved with everything. But all right, so this question you're probably not going to want to answer because you just answered it. What's your favorite organization or a club and when you were a student.
Oh,
So, I mean, you can just go with Iron
yeah,
Arrow and move on.
yeah, I mean, Iron Arrow is great just because I mean, so many of our great friends that we've, maintained relationships with over the years have been in IA. But
Right.
certainly my Kappa sisters have been, I've been, an alumni, what am I trying to say? Been on their boards, before to help the different chapters when I was in Los Angeles and also back here at UM, an advisor. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
So maybe I would say Kappa because Kappa's really as an organization from just a pure female perspective, kind of female power, really some of my absolute best girlfriends, Raquel, Christine, Melissa, Stephanie, like they're all my Kappa sisters. And we've been, it's been a great way to stay connected with women, not only just because you're friends with them, but just know that you hold such similar values. And that started in an organization that was important to us, when we were just freshmen, practically babies. And being able to serve for Kappa in many different aspects, certainly as president, when I was there, hopefully, I made a positive influence and did good things with an incredible exec board that we had. And so I would say Kappa probably, besides Iron Arrow and others.
Right. Many to choose from.
Yes, many to choose from.
So obviously, you're raising a young family and you've got all different things going on. Are there any hobbies that you have time for when you're not doing work stuff?
Oh God, I'm like an Uber for my children. That's my hobby. I don't
Without
have
getting
any
paid
hobbies
for
I know, without getting paid for it. My God, they're so overprogrammed, which is my fault. Nobody else's. Hobbies. Gosh. Isn't that terrible that I have to like think about what my hobbies are now? I mean,
Well, I mean, it could be
I'm
your
like a
kids, right?
crafter.
Yeah.
I like to craft. I have a Cricut.
What's a cricket?
It's a little crafty thing. You make like shirts and bags and
Oh,
personalized
okay.
things. Like that's kind of fun. It's more like therapeutic time, I
Okay. Yeah.
don't ever read books. Like, I do like audio books and things like that, but that's probably like, my hobbies, maybe
Right. Well,
shopping. Don't tell my husband that.
yeah.
You do things. Oh, hey,
Right.
Jeff. That's Ken. That's who I was telling you about. Jeff, we're coming after you next, my friend. Jeff's one of my
Jeff, you're
best
welcome on
friends.
the show whenever you would
Yes,
like.
you're coming on. You're coming on here, Jeff.
Fantastic.
He's like,
So
oh, great.
always,
Why did I join?
well, he had to see what it was like, make sure that
Exactly.
it's something that he can handle.
Yes.
And he says, let's do it. Look at that.
Let's do it.
Perfect.
Let's do it. Yeah. But no, honestly, I mean, truthfully, my hobbies really include if there's time to spare, it's truly spending time with my family and carting them around to gymnastics and karate and whatnot. And,
Right.
spending time with my husband when he travels a decent amount when the world is normal. And, so getting to spend time with him and date nights or going out and seeing our friends, trivia nights, going out for drinks or relaxing. Those are probably the hobbies. Catching up with people.
And cooking, Manny says. So.
Yes, I do. Oh, that's my husband.
Oh.
Yes, I do love to cook.
Okay. See, so now you know he's listening and paying attention.
Oh, no.
So, well, so at least you said he was a favorite thing.
Yes, exactly.
So,
yes.
So you're good. You're covered.
I'm good. Got that figured out.
So, of all the good things and the different things that have happened at UM, if you could change one thing that you did or didn't, so I'll read it so I don't mess it up. If you could change one thing that you did or didn't do at UM, what would that be?
Honestly, I probably wouldn't change anything. And that's not a cop-out. That's usually my answer for anything in life, to be honest with you. I don't believe in regret. I don't believe that things happen purposefully, whatever that might be. I don't believe in failures. I don't think, sorry, AirPod coming out. We're coming back in. Sorry. Pause. I don't believe in failures. I just don't. I think every experience that you have, for whatever reason it is meant to teach you something. So I actually don't think I would change a single thing. I don't have any regrets about things that I did at UM, things that I didn't do at UM, how I handled situations, how I didn't handle situations. They were all appropriate for the time or the experience that I had had. And I still carry that through to this day. I mean, I'm a big believer in always, God forbid something goes awry, apologize first and always take ownership for something that happened, and learn from it. But I don't regret. So I wouldn't change anything.
Okay, that's good. I mean,
That's my
after
life
everything,
lesson.
yeah, and plus everything that you said that you've done. I mean, it's amazing that you figured out how to put all that into 4 years plus the extra years, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's been my experience. I mean, you know, I bleed green and orange. There's no doubt about it, and I couldn't have seen myself do a master's degree anywhere else, which is why I moved out to LA and quickly, like 7, 8 months later, moved back to do the master's program.
Right.
It was the right thing for me at the right time, and a lot of people wondered why I did that. I passed up a job as a writer's PA on Will and Grace,
Oh
and
wow.
decided to come back and start my master's program. They offered me the job like 2 weeks before I was moving back to Miami, and I turned it down, and everyone thought I was out of my mind. But I don't regret it. It was the right choice.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, next vacation that you could go on, if you actually can go anywhere
Oh,
travel wise.
Ken, this is a sensitive subject. My husband and I actually we have a 3-week trip planned to California
Oh, nice.
late June. But I don't know that that's happening now just because of the state of the world.
Right.
And we're supposed to leave my children with my mother, and
Oh,
we have tickets to hop on a plane to go to Cabo for a week,
oh wow.
which would be like our first, like real vacation without kids in 6 years. Luckily, we get to go to Napa for a couple nights every Christmas, but it's never quite long enough. So Cabo, if it could
Hmm.
happen.
Wow.
And if not,
Okay.
then we'll reschedule it, because it's probably the safer and better thing to do at this time. So
Right.
we'll
Plus
see.
the
We'll
uncertainty
see.
of everything that's going on wherever you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. And especially like traveling with kids. I mean, the 6-year-old would definitely wear the mask, like he's aware, but
Right.
they touch
3-year-old.
everything.
Yeah.
And then
Oh
it's
yeah,
just,
for sure.
no, the 3-year-old
Right.
wants to be a ninja every second and jump off things and touch and practically lick everything. So that would be awful.
It
So
sounds
well,
like
I
a
think we'll
TikTok
probably,
video.
his life is a TikTok video. God help me if I were to let him on TikTok. He'd figure it out at 3 years old too, these
Well,
little
there's a
tech
revenue generating
wizards.
opportunity for you there.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
All right. Well, so any advice that you have for current students or recent graduates?
Oh gosh. Advice. If Jeff is still on, he probably would agree with this, or at least I think he would. Like I said, I was never somebody that wanted to start my own business. Like it just wasn't an aspiration of mine. I don't have necessarily like that entrepreneurial like spark that said this is what you're meant to do in your life. I did it because it was the right thing for me at the right time to manage my family schedule, to be present, to be able to work on the things that I wanted to. In fact, Jeff and I had this conversation many times, and he said the beauty about being your own boss is that not only do you the power of yes, but you learn the power of no. And you get to choose really much more about whom you spend your time with, because at the end of the day, you spend so much time in your work life and you want to make
Right.
sure that you're enjoying it and you don't want to be miserable. And I'm sure that each one of us on this or whomever sees it has had the experience of having a really bad relationship with their manager or their boss. And, so for me, the takeaway is that experience, I wouldn't change it. Working in corporate America has been the basis for everything that I know other than education. But there's nothing more valuable than on the job training, really, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people do it these days coming out of college. They say, graduate, get my degree, and I'm just going to start my own business and go for it. And if that works for you, then by all means do it, if that's what you want
Right.
to do. But
Yeah.
I would not, under any circumstances, like change the corporate experience that I had, because without that experience of working in a pressure-filled entertainment environment with deadlines that you cannot change,
Right.
with creative geniuses that have crazy minds that, you know, are unbelievably artistic, but, you know, can't, it's that experience. You can't, your education inside the classroom doesn't give you that same experience. And so, in my opinion, coming out of college and going and getting experience from somebody else, working for somebody else, finding a mentor in whatever field you seem to think that you want to be in, then follow that and then figure out what your path is, where you can be most valuable to your clients if owning a business is where you want to be. And hopefully that's what I bring to my clients. Hopefully my experience more than my education is what I'm able to bring to the table and ultimately seals the deal for them to want to work with me versus working with somebody else. Because
Absolutely.
my, you know, and instinct is so important. And like I said, almost 95% of the people, when I said I'm going to start my own business, told me that I have to find that very specific niche area within the content world or content strategy. And I said, thank you for the advice, but I'm not following that.
Right.
But I followed my instinct and my gut said, you will get bored and you want to work across multiple industries doing different things for different clients. And so that is what has worked for me. And so I guess my advice would be twofold if I had to wrap it up in 5 seconds. One, get experience, and two, follow your gut of what that looks like for you. Because my path is not going to be the same for somebody else's.
Absolutely.
You know, but it is 100% why I am where I am today.
That's fantastic. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. But I like being on this side because you get to be the long-winded person.
Oh God, I know. I'm sorry. Even my husband said, he said to me before, he's like, Erin, don't be super long-winded. Don't go into your long stories. I was like, I'll try.
No, it's fantastic. I'm enjoying it. I don't know if anybody else is, but I think it's great.
Hopefully I'm not boring anybody.
So how do people find you if they want to get in touch with you?
Sure. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me here. You know, I was talking to Ken about this earlier today when we just like chatted briefly to make sure that this interaction was going to work. But you can find me on Instagram at Erin Moyer LLC. You can email me, erin@erinmoyer.com. My website, erinmoyer.com as well. So you can find me on Facebook. My personal Instagram is Moyer. Got to have that in there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you can find me anywhere. Follow me, come join the conversation, watch my cooking tutorials on my personal Instagram page.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, but no, I'd love to connect with anyone that's interested in chatting. Always happy to carry on the conversation.
That's fantastic. That's great. So any last comments that you can think of that we didn't touch?
No, I think we covered quite a bit, but just a simple thank you for the opportunity. This has been so wonderful and so much fun. And now I'm going to get Jeff to get on here and do it with you in the next couple of weeks because he's a great guy and has an incredible company and has an amazing story to share as well with a lot of advice to give. But no, just thank you for the opportunity. It's been wonderful.
No problem. Thank you for coming. And you know, before you leave, we always have to do the customary just letting you know. So thank you very much, and go Canes.
There we are. Go Canes.
All right. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ken. Bye, guys. Have a good night.
You too.